I just finished preparing for today's lesson. So currently I am at slide 20, and then the rest is like some reading. Yeah, I think I'm done. So let's get started. It looks like you guys have a lot of questions regarding API gateway configuration, so I can take those questions in the afternoon. That's what is what these afternoon sessions are for. They are for getting questions, but not right now. The last topic. Okay, so today's lesson, I will show you how we can create what we created in AWS automatically using templates. That's what CloudFormation is. And when people develop this CI/CD pipeline, they use these templates to deploy or update existing resources. And then there is CDK, Cloud Development Kit. This is another way of deploying, updating your resources automatically. It's the same thing, achieve the same result, but CDK is like it's more developer friendly. So here you write some template in YAML file or in JSON file. In CDK, it's more flexible that you can use your favorite programming language. You can do like for loop, if else statement, but in CloudFormation it gets nasty when you do so. I'll talk about rapidly, and then I will demonstrate something. I will demonstrate how to analyze your log in CloudWatch using CloudWatch Insights. And this AWS Weather Connect, it's something just, if you know this, it would help you. It's like kind of reading for you at your home. So I will go through code. Yeah. Okay. CloudFormation. So CloudFormation. It sounds like it can form something in the cloud. Its name. So it does that. So it's an AWS service that uses template files, JSON or YAML to automate deployment of AWS resources. And doing so is known as infrastructure as code. People use YAML syntax over JSON. But in JSON, you have those curly brackets. But in YAML, you don't have such things. So YAML is just the first thing. When you deploy something, it can improve your deployment speed. And it plays a big role when it comes to IT governance, like when it comes to maintaining your application. So for example, it provides you consistency. Let's say you have 100 servers running in the cloud, running the same application, and you want to make sure that all servers have the same configuration. That you can enforce with this template. So think of this way, template is similar to Amazon Machine Image in EC2. In AMI, you create one and you can clone that to create the same instances. Same thing here. And when you work on global applications, what you do is you write template once and run that template in 3 different regions. So you have exact same configurations. Okay. When you do so, just one point that I haven't mentioned in here, but as I mentioned, like when you deploy global application, you deploy that to every region from scratch using this template automatically. There are 2 types of okay, let's say that's just true too. There are 2 types of services. There are more, but there are 2. One, there are some global services you might notice. For example, S3 namespace or IAM. Or Raptor. Like there are some global, not that many, but a few global services there are, and then there are regional services. And when you when you write that in your template, you just need to check some if-else statement. Like if you are deploying some global resource, then you have to have like if-else statement. And then you might want to add some region prefix or suffix so that resource would be unique. What I'm trying to say is that there are some global resources such as S3 namespace, right? Namespace. And let's say now in your template, you have like bucket name attribute. Bucket name equals to my bucket, right? My bucket. You deployed this first to US East 1, Northern Virginia region. And now you're deploying your app to Singapore region, AP Southeast 1. When you execute your templates, since this S3 namespace is callable, you have this bucket name collision. It would collide, right? Because it's callable service. So you cannot regress. So your template will fail. In that case, if it's a global service, you just need to add one if-else statement, or you can add like region prefix in here, like bucket name plus region prefix, bucket name plus region prefix. Makes sense? So now your template would run in every region without any errors. So that's what consistency is. And human make errors. They do. And with CloudFormation template, you write once and you would not face like human-based errors. Did I mention you that like one of the silly mistakes that I made? I like first time my team lead asked me to do the deployment, and then what we do is first we deploy to Asia region, because that's where the least number of users there. So we deploy it to Asia region, like Sydney region, and then we see if everything goes smooth. Then we promote that changes to other regions such as USA. And that was like my very first and very last time that I deployed. So what I did is like I didn't realize that I was deploying like to Northern Virginia. Like I didn't realize this. Northern Virginia selected, and I was in CloudFormation. I deployed the application, but then I realized it's Northern Virginia. So, and then like again, like this box is like the main, right? So I just missed that. So this kind of errors happen, so it can reduce from that. And then, so now you have existing resource. If you want to update that, you can do it in your template easily. Let's say that like you have 128 megabyte memory for your Lambda. You want to increase it to 256. You just change your template. You go like template will look like this, same thing, and like memory. There's something called memory attribute there, memory. So you will see 126, and what you need to do is like, this is like 256, all in one place. And then you execute your template. And auditing change management is also handy. Every time you make changes to your resource, it's logged. Like when it was updated, you can see those updates easily. So this is must. Every company must use this kind. Nothing is allowed in production. Nothing is allowed. Like you can't do anything manually. You have to do that. And as a developer, like you would not even have access to production server, production account. You won't have any. But there will be like one CI/CD server, let's say like some Jenkins server. That server will have access to create this resource. That's how you do it. Well, so for example, here, so currently this is what we have. Here you developer, and this is AWS account, and you have all the permissions, so you can create like all the resources in here. In real life, you don't have such permission. You have no permission. Like you only have read-only permission. So now the question is then how do you deploy? Okay, even team leads don't even have this access. Only CI/CD server has access to create this. So for example, your CI/CD, it will look something like this. So since you guys are computer students, I'm talking about these concepts. Okay. So CI/CD. Is there anyone who is familiar with CI/CD? Cool. So what's the first stage that you do? I think maybe build stage. You build your code. npm install, like npm build, npm run build, or maven build, or like whatever command. Like you have your code. So basically, what this does is you have your code, and you are converting that to runnable file or file, like something runnable. So you have to build this one first. That's what, like, in your CI/CD, it's a pipeline, continuous integration and development. Before that, I think there is something. So you have your code in Git, maybe pull code from Git. You push your code to Git, and then that will trigger the build step. And then after build step, maybe you can, again, you can have, before building, I would say, like my last company, what we did is you run the unit tests. Unit tests. Okay, new code. So new code is here. You push that to Git, and Git triggers your CI/CD pipeline, and CI/CD pipeline runs your unit tests. Unit test to make sure that like it's passing all the test cases. Like make sure that new code didn't break existing code. That's the whole purpose of writing this unit test. Okay? Like capturing that errors. Like if your code changed, broke some code, and then you didn't even realize, then if you get it deployed in the production, and you would get the production errors would cost a lot of money from the business. The whole point is like we want to capture the errors before deployment. And one of the reasons is that like before deploying, you can capture it in here. And even the JavaScript is, everyone now writing JavaScript in TypeScript. If you're writing something in JavaScript, use TypeScript. The reason is you can capture that error even while writing your code. And before pushing your code, you can capture the errors. So unit test, and once it passed all the unit tests, you can do the building. Build. We also had something. This is like you can have the build, deploy, like on the 2 stages. Well, my last company is type company. What we have is like code quality check. Like make sure you follow the, and here, if you're not familiar with this, please get familiar with these tools because these are from Sonar. Nice. He knows it. If you don't know, take a look at it, what it does. So it like inspects your code and give you some feedback. So on. And then here you can have maybe security check. And then you can have your build. You can have your build. Now you finally build your code. Once you build, you may want to check security. Like if there is, so for example, if the build is container image, then you want to make sure that there is no CVE, right? Common vulnerable exposure. So it's like checking. So you now you generated your runnable code, and you want to make sure that there is no bug. There is like that there are some tools here, and then after that you can get it deployed in the cloud. And in deploy, what you do is you run CloudFormation commands. Cloud. You would have your template. You would have those templates in your code base. So it would pick up those templates and then CloudFormation, like create resource. This is like policy. You have this policy. And then this is deployed to your AWS account. And notice here, this is what CI/CD look like. CI/CD look like. This is the process. You push your code, test, code quality, build, deploy. And now, I think you noticed here, like in this pipeline, now you don't have to do anything manually. Like these developers, they don't even need permissions to create those resources because it's done by the CI/CD pipeline. You just need to give the permission to the CI/CD server, give the server to create these CloudFormation templates, and that would create all your resource on behalf of all the developers. So you don't need to give any. Okay, so here. Okay, let's see some templates. I prepared we'll start small. What we will do is we will do S3 event notification and SNS task. We did that like I think 2 times. Now you're familiar with that problem statement. So first thing I'm doing is I'm creating the SNS topic with a template automatically. So here, so first question is how you build this, how you come up with this script, this template. Answer to that is you just Google and you build this by referring the official documentation. CloudFormation template SNS, right? You want to create SNS. And then you will see here like the very first result will be the answer. And here, AWS SNS topic. That's what we want to create. With this resource creates a topic to which notifications can be published. There's some more information here. And this is in order to create that. So like in this, this is, you know, the YAML is like prepared. Notice here there's like curly brackets, there's no brackets. So here, what are the properties? Like you may want to have name for your topic, so you can provide name, and its value is a string. And you can also tell like if that topic is before topic or regular topic. And then if if you want to add some subscriptions, you can add to it. Remember, when we do it in the console, it was 2-step process, I guess. I created topic, I created subscriber, to like going back and forth on those UI. And here you just write all in one place. And this is the best thing about Cloud. And now notice here, this is like my template. All my configurations are written in this properties tab. And you can see your resource configuration all in one place. You look at once, and then you say, oh, with console, you remember that you go to EC2 and you click on those different tabs, right? That takes a lot of time, but here it's all in one place. So this is how I come up with this. And for example, the subscription, it's not simple. It's not simply a string. It's an object called subscription, and this hyphen means it's a list. So you can have a number of subscriptions, subscribers. So this is why it's like you can have multiple. And then if you click on this, then you will see how this subscription object look like. And now it's subscription data has endpoint, which is in a string, and the protocol is in a string. So it makes sense. So here we want to create this SNS topic. We gave it a name, CI/CD topic. I just named it this way. You can give it any name in here. And then I create a subscription in here. And here its protocol is email. You can have other types of. And then here I gave it the endpoint, or like in this case, then when protocol is endpoint, protocol is email, the endpoint is email. And you can add like some more. Like again, this hyphen, this is how you represent element in a list. Like the subscription is a list, so and you can add the second name. Okay, can you read this code? This template. And it's a so you can read. That's basically what this template is. And the next thing is we want to allow S3 to publish message. Do you remember when we are creating this topic, we wrote access policy, like in ASQS, I would say. Like we were writing access policy, who can publish message. We need that, otherwise S3 cannot send message. So that I created this topic policy. Again, you can just move forward and get more detail. So this is a policy that's associated with the previous topic here, demo topic. This demo topic is it's like logical name in this template. If you want to refer this resource, then you can use this logical name, demo topic. So it looks like this is a topic policy applied to this topic. And this is a list. You can add some more topics if you want. And this is how the policy looks like. So it's saying principle is S3 service. So S3 can publish on the topic. The policy is in here, and yeah, and then we were creating some policies, and we clicked on that JSON tab, and we grabbed that policy, like in the example, for example. So that's something basically in real life you write that in this template. You can build it's feel free to build that in that UI, and then you just copy and paste it in here, or actions like copy and paste. And this SNS topic, this will be used when we are creating our S3 bucket. So I wanna, so by default, and then I want to like export this topic value. I'm exporting this because I would like to use this topic ARN in some other templates. Exporting this. When you, our next step is to create a S3 bucket, and we select, if you remember the console, we select the topic. Like in the dropdown, there's what happens like when you select this, like you are basically selecting the ARN, like Amazon resource number, this unique number that identifies the topic. Okay, so that's it. Let's get it deployed. Let's see. Looking good to me. Let's say I'll explain this like in a couple of minutes. After 5 minutes, I'll get that there. So CloudFormation, new stack. The template is ready, and we will upload it from our laptop. From my laptop, so CloudFormation templates. Guess this is not S3. It's not S3. It's supposed to be SNS. Okay, so SNS. When you select this, it uploads that file to like S3 bucket, and it reads from it. Next, you choose your. The next thing is it's your stack name. So in your template, there can be many AWS resources, right? So since that's like what you are doing is you are creating your technical application stack in your template. So they call it a stack. So I'll call it my SNS. And this stack would have some resources that we define in the template. So my SNS. And that's what basically what this guy is. You can read some about variables in your template. AWS stack name is this would be converted to the stack name that you gave here. So currently no parameter. You can provide parameters that I would use in my second template. So key tag. Yeah. In real life you would give tags to every single resource, and this is very handy when, for example, calculating like cost for each application or environment. One of the there are two popular things that you give is like maybe application name. Application name, it's a tag, you can give it to it, and then you can tell like which application this resource belongs to. So for example, here, my app. So in that case, okay, in that case, what you can do is like in other bidding services, you can know like how much resources with this tag cost. This is handy. And another thing is environment. People add this a lot. We can call it. So it's a resource. It's for development. And then also some people, what they do is like, who is the owner of this resource? Like if there are many teams, then here like team lead at the company.com, something like this. Other resources, should do this. Okay, that's I think it. Next. So we uploaded the template. Just two things. We uploaded the template and we gave it a name. And hit submit. I hope it goes smooth this time. And again, in real life, when deployment is kicked off by CI/CD server, and they will do the steps defined, and the last step is to deploy here. And how you monitor your releases, deployment is, like you always check this stacks, like how this create or update. That's good. So click on this. Cool. Looks like it's done. No issues. Here we have this complete history of what happened to our resource. If you update this, you will see update in here, like with timestamp. And you can see here, like what resources this stack created. So for example, this stack created SNS topic. You click on this, you will see that, and also this policy. This is created. My SNS. This is the stack name. This is the logical name, and this is like this CloudFormation adds some unique number. So it's created with subscriber. We didn't do anything manually. We just started. Okay, so that's how you do it, and that's how you do it. Okay, any questions so far? Yes.
What's the stopping that? Is it like just page? I look at you just start. Is that everybody creates separate or isn't that?
This stack is basically your template. So you want to deploy this template in the cloud. And to do so, like you create so basically a stack is essentially it's your template. One-on-one relation. In your template, you have multiple resources. And then they just call it stack. So another thing, let me give you like some analogy. So for example, you're familiar with Java, right? In Java, so a stack is an instance and template is class. Class is like some definition, right? When you instantiate it, like it becomes an object. The template it's a template. And then when you actually create research in the AWS cloud, it becomes a stack.
Did you attach the YAML file or like
On Sakai?
no, with the
That permission?
yeah.
Yeah, I did that. I'll show you once again. Yes, I did two things. First, I uploaded that YAML file template. Second, I gave it this MySNS name. Yes, I gave this name.
Where did you upload it?
Okay. When I create my second stack, like S3 stack, it's the S3. When I deploy S3 with this CloudWorks, you would notice.
Oh.
And you can also see output. Wait, there should be one out. Yes. This is the output here. This is what it exported, and you can use this to use this topic in other templates. So this is we need we would need this. So MySNS, notice here MySNS, that is the stack name is, it replaces with that value at runtime because we gave it MySNS. So we would need this topic, and that's pretty much all. So you have resource output. Let's look into the second template. So here I added some, there isn't many things, there is just a few things in template in CloudFormation. I added this parameters. So basically you can provide parameters to your template. And one of the popular parameters that everybody uses is this environment, like which environment. And now when I create my bucket, I wanna have this environment as my suffix. So how you do is this sub function, this is substitute, just concatenating this, like so a sub, it would replace this $sign with this, with the actual value. So we are giving this bucket name and notification configuration. This is what we did. When object is created in this bucket, like all the object creation event is detected, we want to send that message to this topic. So to the topic that we previously created. And in order to use a resource in other template, you have to use this import and export. So we already exported this. And that I just copied from the export, the previous template, pasted it in here. And now it would import the value for this because this is now keyword and the actual value is here. So at runtime, this topic will be replaced by actual topic. That's it. That's pretty much all. So here, when you can pass parameter, you learn this like this sub function, intrinsic function, and then here, one thing I wanna show you is
MySNS is a dynamic and right. It can create, can give the
name.
MySNS CI. So every time I have to do like manually, like you did this dynamically, like you take the statement and add that as a prefix on the previous template. But here you are, yes.
Yeah.
But here you are copying the hard-coded value on the second template.
Oh,
Like, can we do the same thing?
yeah, we. Okay, how do okay, think of this with like, I just made it like fancy, like you can make it because it's just some naming. It's static text, by the way. Like you can think, you could. It's like it's up to you. I just made it static name. You can call it like MySNS, hard code this, doesn't matter. This text is like static. Export, import, these keys are static, so you can use it. Its value is dynamic. Like by the way, we never know. Like we only know its value once it's created. I don't think so. I don't think. Okay.
So many.
Okay, cool. That's one of the benefits of using this CloudFormation. The basic thing, when we have this AWS Academy, you created many resources. Before midterm, I asked you to delete them. I guess time consuming, like, and then you like delete some of them, and some of them is still stayed there, like you didn't notice. When you hit this delete button, it will delete all the resources created with this template automatically. Like nothing is left. If our, like, let's say, like, I created new lesson. It's cloud computing 2. In that case, prerequisite is cloud computing 1. Right? Here you learn it CloudFormation. So on day 1 of that next course, I would ask everyone to create all the resources with templates, nothing manual. In that case, like in that lesson 2, if I ask you to clean up all the resources, then you can do it by deleting these templates. That's like how, again, like similar, how these components are like govern their resources in the cloud. This is the only way. Because those like resources that left in, you noticed like there are some resources you didn't know, but they charge. They charge you. Okay, so this is here. So we are importing that. So it will be reflected to ARN. And let me show you one. Okay, just here. Topic. It doesn't. So basically, here, what you are doing is you're just providing an information. This is the input for creating this bucket. And after this creation, this CloudFormation can return some response, like return some values that you can find. So for example, if you do, when you have my bucket, CloudFormation, this topic. When you have this, do you see this return values? Based on the resource type, you receive these values. For example, here, if you do ref, then it will be bucket name in this case. And you might want to use bucket name like in other templates, maybe, or like if you need that, then you can get that. And if you do get attribute and ARN, then you would get ARN, and you can also get this domain name website URL. By the way, you can also get website. This like you create this resource as a result. CloudFormation returns you something that might be useful to you. In that case, you can also export those values. So that's what I do. This is like key point on this part is here. There are some outputs you can use it. Okay, that's pretty much. So in this case, like I'm not using this, and I can remove it. but it won't hurt anything. Not using, but I'm exporting this bucket name, bucket ARN, just in case maybe I would need this in the future. So that's pretty much all of this environment. So this substitute and bucket is created. So we are importing the since topic. Yeah, should be time. Let's run it. About create this stack. Now you would know this. So here, template is ready because we have already written the template. And upload template shows, and this is S3. I'm selecting it. This is how I select. And then I need to give it like my name, my S3 stack name. And then environment is like this drop 4 options. And default is div environment. And next, and next. And submit. Okay, it's creating them. Cool. It looks like it's done. S3 is created. We can double check everything. Which one? Is it? I think this one. We have that environment suffix. Yeah, I think this one. The bucket name. You took at this. My bucket. Okay, so this one, and then we configured something. Properties. Scroll all the way down. It looks like it adds this automatically. These tags. That's handy. I think it's super handy that you would know like how this use tags. And then now what I can do is, Aaron, I found this so helpful because here, so let's say I have a production account and nothing is allowed, nothing manual is allowed in production, right? I have to enforce that no one is creating resource manually. So it looks like I can like read all the resources in production account and check if all the resources has this stack ID, this tag. If there is a resource that doesn't have this stack ID tag, that means it might be created manually. So I can like warn that, like, I can clean that resource automatically or just send it to some people to check it out. To listen, event notification, and it's created. Previously, like we did manual, now it's there. And now when we put object, it will be published that to like the my SNS is the stack name, and then demo topic is the resource name, and then some. So it would work when we deploy it, send message. But that's pretty much all. Since topic is here, we are importing that value.
That is good.
Yeah.
Can we link with this? Like
Element, which one?
or we have to create a single element.
Single.
The imported value.
Okay, let's import value.
Yeah. This can be like after this topic, then we want to get topic name. Yes.
Yes, that's what we are doing, right? We deploy this. We created this SNS. Yeah, some more. Let's see. Okay, this is just another example. You can get that ARN number from using that export import, or you can provide that ARN number as a parameter. It's up to you. But import export is better because it's automatic. it doesn't, so in the previous template, it doesn't ask you to enter the SNS error. It picked up SNS error automatically. But alternatively, like you can provide this. And just another option. And you have something called mapping. It's very handy. For example, you wanna, so this, what it does is it creates an EC2 instance. But now you want to create a small instance in your div environment and bigger instance in your production environment. So you can put that information here. If it's div environment, then I would create T2 nano, and this is name is here. If it's production environment, type is my bit bigger, not mama, it's bigger, and then cross server. And then I use this in my place below. Like you have this find in map, and environment variable, we are getting it from as a parameter. And then in that map, we have two attributes like type and name. So here are basically name and type. So then basically this script is equivalent to like my T2 nano. I think so. If environment is div, then it would be evaluated to this text. Nothing else. And our next topic is cloud development kit. I told you that this is flexible, like so much easier. The reason is like, notice here. This is like nasty, like too much. So what this guy is doing is it's just selecting, it's just picking the subnet ID. EC2 is created in one subnet. You have to select subnet. So what it's doing is it looks like importing some subnets from another template, and it looks like this template. Like this import value will be equivalent to like subnet 1, subnet 2, subnet 3, like this IDs. And then when you have this will be returned from this import value. And then now you are splitting this. Like you will have multiple subnets. You are splitting them by comma. And then you are picking. Now once you split it, it will become from a string to an array. And then you are picking the first one. And like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-line code. If you do it in JavaScript, you can write it in one line, right? Much easier. That's why people prefer using SDK. That's all. I deleted that. And, let's see what we have in the slides. So we covered about that. In template, you would have these sections. You can have parameters. I showed you. You can have mapping. It could be handy if you have those different environments. And you can also have condition. Like if it's div environment, then I want to create this resource. Otherwise, if it's production, I won't create this. Something like that. You can have condition. And the resources is the main part, right? This is what your resources are. And then based on the resource type, they return some outputs that you can use in the future. That's it, pretty much all. This is all components in one template. There are some intrinsic functions. So intrinsic means it's built-in function, like function available that you can use directly. Find in map, we have seen this, and this sub, like it's connect, like it evaluates that $sign variable with the actual value, and you can use a split, join, reference to other. Like these are the common functions that are used. And we learned the step function. We have seen like how step function works yesterday. And then the step function, they also have this built-in or intrinsic functions, such as generating unique ID. It might be helpful, like you are storing, you have a step function and that's storing something in DynamoDB. And now your client frontend application doesn't have to send the ID. You can generate that in your backend in your step function using this UUID intrinsic function. And then there are some global variables that you can read. For example, if you want to read account ID in your template, you can do that. You can read the region, you can read the stack name, etc. And again, you have the same thing in step function. You also have these global variables. You can use it in step function, such as you want to get the current date in step function, you can do so. So here my bottom line is, once you learn something, when you learn other things, like it's much easier. You can just correlate that to what you previously knew. Oh yeah, this is cool thing. Just, it's been a month since it was announced. So this writing this template, like you have to refer the documentation and write it down. Write it down. A composer, you can drag and drop like step functions, and it will generate the template for you. So this is like I've been looking for many years. Now let's see if we can. I don't think maybe we can use. It's like brand new. I'm not sure this user has permission to do something. Open demo. Okay, cool. I think. Okay, so basically, yeah, that's the last part. You drag and drop. So for example, you wanna, what we are doing is API gateway, Cognita, DynamoDB, Lambda, right? Now even you have no, so you have no experience in cloud formation, I think. Like it takes some like years to get confident with writing templates. But now even if you have no experience, you can come up with your template. You just drag and drop, so for example, and then it writes the template for you. So this is like so handy. And now basically you just have to copy and paste that to your template. So CDK we just discussed, this is using your programming language. And CDK, so you use programming language, and when you run this CDK synthesize, so it converts your code to template. And basically understand what is just generating template by reading your code, nothing special. Okay, I hope you get some information on like how these guys are doing CI/CD and automation. I hope you learned that in this hour. Let's take 10-minute break and then we will have some.
We have very like so what's the best methods for us to learn less? Like you say that we can do it in what's this word?
Cloud permission.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Sure, yeah.
there
Ah.
are different ways.
Mhm.
I just want to say you can do it with CDK.
Uh-huh.
So I was once I was one company.
Sure.
So what is the path like? It's like to take-
Which one is prepared?
Yeah, like
Uh,
some you say about some and CDK,
Mhm. Yeah,
the one.
exactly.
So
That's very good question.
yeah. But,
Okay. This is hard to say because it depends on who the developer is, like who the team lead, who the decision maker of that choosing the because I would say like 80% of let's give you some idea. Maybe 80% of developers they prefer using CDK. Like companies, let's say 80%. Maybe and then I have seen some blogs on Medium saying CDK is not like we don't like this. We don't want to use CDK because of these reasons. And some people like prefer using CloudFormation directly. So SAM it's just an exception. Cloud with cloud, okay, how do I say?
like I just want to
yeah.
like the frameworks, like there is some.
Yeah.
So there is.
SAM is only for serverless application.
Yeah, I'm
Right?
interested in
Yeah.
serverless part only.
Exactly. So use SAM. But then still you might want to touch this part. Okay, just for now, focus on this. Yeah, just SAM. SAM is
serverless. Do you think or there is this amplified? Those things.
oh yeah.
Yeah, like my idea was like first I didn't myself to learn serverless, so it was difficult for me because I didn't understand maybe the basic things like what you teach. So then I hear about this some, then also this some, and then I saw this many some companies they use CDK. And when I asked the CTO, and like why do you don't use, for example, serverless? He told me like okay, serverless is
only focus on the serverless.
yeah, they don't. Yeah, in the companies they use Node.js. I think say it's CDK. So I asked them to use in serverless framework. They say no, we have our own scripts. Okay. So I asked him because it's this serverless framework. It's a learning curve. It's difficult. So he says this is easy. So now I am. They say
Exactly. So basically, today I taught you this template.
yeah,
right?
So this is
Like now with it SAM it's same. SAM you have again same. This is what SAM is.
cool.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like bunch of code. Like in the beginning, I had no idea what this script is.
Yeah.
But if you use CDK, it's your programming language. You can like even if you don't know CloudFormation, you can create CloudFormation templates through your programming language. Like if you read your programming language, you can understand your code.
Yeah.
So yeah, the bottom line is like there's a way to create this template without knowing this.
Yeah. But this is not framework, yeah? This is not some. So what is this? Like
What is
template?
okay? I would say
from AWS official this template, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
What is this? Is
This template.
like think of this way. AWS is an API. It's web services, right? When we create some resource, we pass some parameter.
Yeah.
This is like I would say it's one way of passing parameter down to the AWS services.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
This is what it is basically here. Again, when you create a resource in console, you have to provide what bucket name is.
Yeah.
There is a UI you provide. Here, there's a template that you provide. It's like one way of getting input from clients. AWS is getting input from clients to create the resource.
So this is for CloudFormation. You use this template.
Yes.
We are using this template to give to CloudFormation.
Yes.
So I can start from here and then maybe then you can learn. Now there are two paths. Like if I want to be a Lambda developer,
You
Lambda developer as Node.js, should I learn this one?
I would say I don't think now you even need to learn this one because I just showed you that composer.
The composer, yeah.
In the composer, you can just drag and drop and copy and but you eventually you learn it. Like
Yeah.
some developers they gain experience and write this template like by day hard about the risk and this thing. It will take time, but now my bottom
What do
line.
you use, like, for example, like, I mean, I just want to know, because it seems that there are many ways to
Okay,
do it, like.
sure, yeah. What I did is the Cypress I developed in 2020.
Yeah.
I used SAM because it was a typical serverless application.
Yeah.
The application I developed last year, I used Amplify. And now, current application, I'm planning to use this Composer.
Okay. You are
No, yeah. And then at my last job at Sterling, we used this, not CDK, not yet, but we brought templates directly. But then the company was about to transition to CDK. So basically I used, yeah, kind of.
So should we try, like, as students, we don't have experience like you. So what is it like to understand? This is all is infrastructure, you say it's called infrastructure?
Yeah, CIC, yeah,
Was it like infrastructure as a code?
infrastructure as a code, yeah.
Is the same as CI/CD, it means almost the same thing.
Oh, it's almost the same, yeah, almost the same. Yeah, almost the same.
Okay, so what is the one, your tip, like, should we practice on this template? Or should we use one?
Oh, yeah, just use Composer and
Composer
build some side projects to learn something. Right? And then maybe you, let's say you get hired where they use AWS, and if you see cloud permission states or CDK, don't get surprised, right? Because like same thing, it is just as time goes, it becomes.
So there is a, and you mean show me the CDK, so I can find CDK for Node.js.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes. And then
and I got some idea. It was confusing, like there are many ways.
yes.
That's
Sure.
Just try to you say yeah. I'm thinking that
Can you please call your classmates outside so we can have lunch earlier? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so let's say you have your front-end application that's deployed on S3, so front-end app deployed in S3. On S3. So you receive a link, something like this, packet name, website region. Let's say your backend app on API gateway. And what you receive is my Postman. So you receive link something like this. Snippet here. And if it's your like side project, you want to go live. In that case, you would probably want to replace this with your domain name, right? So for example, your app.com. So you want to do yourapp.com. So this is your domain name, your app. Here. So you would want to use this one for this. So yourapp.com, and then it will show clients your front application. And your backend is deployed here with this UI, and you want to do something like api.yourapp.com, right? So that's when this RAP53 comes into the picture. Like anywhere in the cloud, you can come up with your custom domain. So this, once you buy your domain name, let's say like for how much? $8 or $10. Once you buy your domain name, you can have n number of records. So this is one record, and this is second record. Not only that, you can have n number of records. And here, this is what students like in this class, they do these two things, and then basically then they're done using their domain name, basically. And then what I would say in this case is you did this, but you have more, like there are more that you can achieve. So for example, if you paid this yourapp.com, one thing you can do is, as I mentioned, you can configure email server. And then what you can do is like email.yourapp.com. So this would be helpful. For example, in Cognito, it can send only 50 mails, and you want to send thousands of emails. So you would probably need this one. A second thing you can do is, once you got your domain, you want to set up maybe work mail. So this is like, it's email for sending transaction. So I have an address for sending transactional emails, like no reply, right? No reply at email.yourapp.com. This is what I am addressing with this point. And then the other thing you can set is you can use, for example, now John at yourapp.com, right? Your domain. So now it's not no, like it's like your domain. That's like more general. So yourdomain.com. This is email yourdomain.com and your domain. Here. These are the things it's possible to configure that in AWS. Okay, like there are many things you can do. And you see this, I am adding these prefixes to your domain name. You can have a number of prefixes. So that's also known as, you can have a number of records, as I showed you in here, a number of records. And those are subdomains, right? You can have, that means like you can have a number of subdomains in your account. So subdomain is your domain with a prefix. Period, nothing. So do you follow this? Good, very well. And now here, so I don't have any domain name for, and then direct domain name. I didn't buy any domain name for this class. And also, like when you do something in Raft3, it takes like some 5 minutes or like even hours to replicate some changes. So that's the reason why I can't demonstrate end-to-end in this class again in 30 minutes. It's not possible. Just to give you some idea. So create HostZone. HostZone tells you this DNS queries for domain names such as here. So basically HostZone is your domain name. It's yourdomain.com, right? You can create this. Cool. Please you could create this in here. It generates these records in this record, and this SOA record. This is some metadata about your domain name. Ignore this. It is not used by you, or this is like internally it's used. This is very important. Copy this. Now why it's important is, so for example, you bought your domain name from GoDaddy or like domain name provider in your country. You buy your domain name, and now you want to control your domain name on AWS, not on GoDaddy or not that domain name provider website. Because AWS, all the resources running in AWS, using this, you can easily associate your domain name with the resource in the AWS. You can just select it. So copy this and register this in whatever domain name provider website. Okay. So then you would have full control over it. And this is what you would do in your project. By your domain name, yourname.com, or like any domain name that you want, and then copy this, and you can also directly buy it from AWS. In that case, you don't even need to copy and paste this one, but this is the name servers. So these are the NSS name server. This is the actual servers. When you receive request on your domain name, they translate that to actual IP addresses, like actual domain names. So this is name server. Next thing is a record. A record is IPv4, but in AWS, since it's AWS, the network, you can create. So this a record is IPv4. So for example, your public IP for your web EC2 instance, you receive public IP. If you put that in here as a record, then it will work. In our case, in AWS, they just like it's still a record, but they have this alias type in it. In alias type, you can select your AWS resources. You just select your resource, and that IPv4 translation is done by AWS. So it's so handy. This is why you need to manage your domain name here rather than the third party. So for example, API gateway, you can select that, and S3 website, you can select that. And S3 website, we don't directly use S3. Instead, we put CloudFront in front of S3, and then we use that. Remember lesson 3. In that case, you can again select this and just choose the resource. That's what a record is. ADS record is. A record is IPv4. Now let's see some other records. So now let's say API.com then. So I'm creating one record. Add another record. So then let's say this is API yourdomain.com. This is yourdomain.com pointing to S3 bucket. This is, let's say, pointing to API gateway. And this is your actual website pointing to S3 bucket or CloudFront, doesn't matter. And then I wanna add some more record. For example, I want to configure mail server, right? When you wanna configure mail server, you use this MX record, and also this TXT record, MX record. There's nothing hard in here. When you configure this, like let's say your mail server, like this work mail service, you can use any third-party mail provider. They give you this information to you. They give you this information to you. You just need to copy that value, create a record in here as they instructed. Just copy and paste. That's how you set up mail, email. It's not as hard as you think. It's just copy and paste. So MX text, it's for mail server. CNAME is super handy. So it routes traffic to another domain name or to some AWS resource. So this is important. For example, CNAME. And some people maybe are used to www. Maybe they access your site www.yourdomain.com. In that case, this is one type of record, right? It's one type. And if there is a request on www.yourdomain.com, you might want to redirect, like route that to yourdomain.com, because it's the same thing, right? They want access yours. So that's what CNAME is. It's your domain name, and then it routes to another domain. And some other live example is your database, maybe. Add record. In your database, what you do is like database, yourdomain.com. You create CNAME record. And here you put endpoint, those endpoints, if you remember, like read replica, write replica, write instance. That's pretty much all. Let's double check. I'll talk about this soon. So hosted zone. Hosted zone, this is your domain name. Your domain, we create this, and then in hosted zone there would be your records. And as record, we talked about that. This is name servers. We talked about alias. It's a name. This is some metadata, and we also talked about this MX text records. Subdomain, we also discussed. Any questions so far on this record? I think it should be okay. It's not that concept that you need to answer. It's like some information that you just need to know. Here in RAF 53, you can also do some routing, like when you have the domain name, like how you wanna route. Most cases, I manage one domain. In that one domain name, I have like 30 records. Okay, 30 records. Just some of the mail server and other stuff. All of them. I never used this other routing policies. It might be helpful, but at least in currently what I'm doing, I just use the simple routing. It worked like this is fine. So what it does is like with a domain name, and it will return it will resolve that IP behind IP or whatever behind the domain name. You can also do this weighted routing. If you remember, that's how we implemented canary deployment in Lambda function. Remember, like we can achieve the same thing with CloudFront. So basically in AWS, there are many layers, many components. That's how you make complex how you solve a complex problem like easily and that you widen. So here, you're now. So you have client. So what it does is the very first, like when they do app.com, they hit RAW 53. This is first thing it does, and then it resolve the IP. Second thing, like IPs or like some other names, like the actual resource. And then using this, you are accessing to, for example, API gateway. And behind the API gateway, we have that Lambda. This is the fourth step. And we know that we can implement canary deployment here, weighted routing. Like we had two versions. We created one address and two versions. And then it was like 50-50. That was the weight. Similar thing, you can do the same thing on this layer, like first layer, second layer. In red, like we want to achieve the same thing, another deployment. And you can do this like in two ways in AWS. And which one works, like it's up to your business. So this is what weighted routing is. And then they can route based on the location, like which country you. If you are calling your domain.com from US, then RAF53 will redirect or route your request to servers in US, not servers in Canada, for example. And you also have this latency-based routing. And that means so in these two cases, like you have one domain name, behind that you have multiple servers in multiple regions, I would say. So and then this will route to the server that provides the best latency. You can also implement this failover. Failover means like if the primary domain name is like that the primary server is not working, then you can route request to like secondary server, like standby server. And then here, I think you might need to configure like health check, so it will know it. And then there's multi-value. So behind one record, there will be multiple IP address, and then it will select one of them. So that's there. So I discussed, and get some more information here. Time to live. This is like how long it will be cached on your client side. So for example, in this case, this is you. And this is you. This is like your laptop, I would say, your laptop. And then when you access app.com from your laptop, it hits the name servers that we have seen this in this record. So it hit the name servers, and that the result was this value behind this domain name, and that app.com, and then its IP address. It's stored on your laptop. Next time when you access app.com, it doesn't send any request to Rhapsody. Instead, it reads it from your local machine. So it's hosted in local. The advantage of like this TTL is like this. The servers behind the domain name, I don't think most likely it will not be changed. It's kind of static. And then when clients make requests to Rhapsody, it charges. Right? It will charge money. You're accessing one server and it turns out like you are making something working, so that will cost. So with this cache, you can save some money.
Provide metrics.
Metrics, I think so. Here, do you see this TTL? That's like how long it will be cached in the local. And that's why also another reason when you update some record in Rhapsody, you have to sometimes wait like 5 minutes. Even when you update any records, you have to wait like even hours until it gets like propagated across name servers all over the world. This is like something called about, right? Yeah, similar. Yeah, I would say similar. Like again, like there is like we want to achieve something like load balancer, and that you can use the service like load ALB service. Similarly, like there are other services that you can like there are two ways to achieve like with different layers. Okay, that's here. And then certificate, you can get it for free from AWS. Amazon Certificate Manager, it can give you certificate for free, all your domain and all your subdomains. And then it will something you will do as your project. And then it generates one CNAME record. It generates it for you. You just need to copy and paste that to your Rhapsody hosted zone. Okay, that's all I prepared. That's pretty much it about. Again, this is not that like you would have a bunch of records that you need to like. To summarize, I would say these things. Okay, I can summarize that. Route 53. This is your DNS related. And first thing you want to use is you can select AWS resources. If it's app.com, you can select the resource. That's first thing. What else? Simple routing. Routing works most of the time. But then the other routing policies, it's there. Like if you want to utilize this, it's the features they provide. And I think that's pretty much it. And then third thing is you would be given records that you need to add it to the custom. Like the main name service, and then behind this, that you can have like many records. You have two ways. Like you can select your resources, or you will be given some records that you need to copy and paste. And then simple routing it works, and then you can get certificate for free. CloudWatch Insight. I'm sure that you would agree that 90% of the log file are not very insightful or useful. Right? You got the log and you see like you just look for one keyword, like why it's failing. And then in real life applications, you would have like hundreds, like gigabytes of log file. Like it's too much to scroll down, right, to analyze this. That's why there is log analysis tools. The most popular one is Splunk, if you have ever used that. Yeah, anyway, if you have log, like it's inevitably you would have log, and you would need that to resolve that production issue. And if you scroll it down, then there are technologies that you can analyze that using Splunk. And AWS, they provide that such technology called CloudWatch Insights. So here, what I did is just one Lambda, and then I'm logging out system error to mimic like there is something wrong with our application, like outage, like there is a bunch of outage. And all this file is logged in this here. This is step function, like step 2, and this is the log file. If I scroll down, like I cannot basically see anything. Like okay, here you scroll down, you won't get any insights. And now you wanna maybe see you're having these intermittent system errors, and you wanna see like during which time period it happened. That's first thing, like even really like first thing that developers, these directors do. There's a system outage, and they wanna know the time frame that happened. And during the time frame, then you can filter some records in database and do something. That's what we will do. I just recorded some. So here, go to insights, log group, and underneath you will see insights. And now you want to analyze something like some log group. So here, you can select the log groups you have, like which log group you want to analyze. And then I select my log group. And then here I am putting like, I want to analyze last 3-hour log in this log group. And this is my query. I want to query. I only need messages with system error. And I want to count this. I want to count this. When I count like by every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, I want to see if I can. And if you run this query, it's running, it's fetching data. And now it's visual. At 10 a.m., like when there was some outage system errors. And during when break starts, I produce some errors, and then after that you had. And then this is the ones that we just populated together. So this will give you like such information, so you can run some queries. And this query again, like how to write this query, you can refer to the documentation. It's similar to SQL. And then this visual. And that's what like the other student like utilized this to build like real-time dashboard on in the project. API gateway, and then Lambda DynamoDB instances. So I'll show you can draw it. So yeah, this is, and then this is here, and you can add this to dashboard. So it's like kind of real, right? So you can do this. So this is what CloudWatch Insight is. You find this useful? That's pretty much all. Last thing is just, it says something for you to read. I added this because like it will give you some big picture understanding. So right now, like what happens is like you might get confused with one specific service or feature, one specific thing, and then it's like you feel like you get confused, and then you feel like you are like something like in the hole, like you can't see the big picture. And this will give you the big picture of building modern application in the cloud. So it helps a lot. And then like we covered many services in this class. And then if you have this big picture understanding, then you would know that, okay, this is these services falls under this filter, like this part, something like this. And when I was looking for a job, I also had hard time understanding these many modern technologies that are used in the US. And like there are like way too many technologies, and then I didn't know like where to get started. And to know like where to get started, like it would get the big picture helps a lot. And then what I found this Weather Factor application. This is one blog in here. This blog like gave me some big picture understanding of how to build modern applications. And after reading this blog, like I get better. Like when I do something, like I can correlate that, okay, the thing I'm doing is like falls under this process, like this and this factor. Similarly, this it also would give you some big picture understanding. And this is again that helps you to build high level, like this other application in the cloud. But this is knowledge base, AWS with that it just gives. Yeah, so the service itself is you put some information about your application, and they process that information based on that their know-how, knowledge that they acquired like during the last 20 years. And then they give you some feedback. Maybe you need to improve your security posture by doing this. And there are 5 main pillars out there. And they added sustainability lately, but this is not technical. This is like more like green, like environmental. They have these servers running all over the world, and they use like that energy effective services, servers like AWS, like have that their servers do not like harm the environment. Something like this is not really technical. This is like something kind of branding that they are telling like we do something green. And the rest 5 is something you should probably see. And operational excellence pillar. This is focused on this day-to-day basis operations. So it focuses like it focuses on how you run your application, how you monitor this. And key topics include automatic changes. That's exactly what we're learning today, right? So this is like there are 5 pillars. And today, like there are 200 plus services. We today learned the CloudFormation, and CloudFormation falls under this operational excellence pillar. and responding to events. It's like auto-scaling group in EC2, also possible. And defining standards to manage daily operations. So there is something of AWS config that can enforce these standards and regulations. And the principles include do everything as a code and make frequent small reversible changes. For example, in Lambda, we have this production alias. If there is something wrong, we can easily reverse it back to the previous version. And refine your operations, anticipate failure, and if there is something wrong, then learn from it and make sure that that error, that incident will never happen again. This is like daily basis. And security, it's important, I guess its name suggests. Focus on security all protecting your data. And as we already know, this AWS managed services like DynamoDB, we have seen that the data is encrypted all the time at internet and at rest. Reliability. So this is also like designing distributed system. It focuses on the workload performance. It's intended to function correctly and consistently when it's expected to. It's about the scaling. Is it dot scaling or Lambda even can scale it? And then and also I think AWS API gateway throttling, that also helps you to ensure that it's working correctly and your system is not overwhelmed. And performance pillar, but this is obvious, you can use into this services, and then the cost optimization. And then here, analyzing again here. Now you want to manage your cost. What you can do is set billing alarm, setting billing alarm, or give tags to your resources so that you can come up with the cost for that environment or applications that administrator. And then this is something like that. And then this is like knowledge base. You just need to answer some question and they will give you this some tips to improve. Take a time to look at this 6 slides and that should be it.